There you go. Shadow monsters, shadow animals. Portable projectors are becoming somewhat of a trend lately. We've already seen the BenQ GV1 and I've started seeing adverts now for other brands and their offerings. But now it's time to unpack the Epson EF-100B portable projector and see what they're all about. It's got a long-lasting 20,000 hour laser light source inside which will last for up to 10 years according to Epson, but this was measured as using this projector for up to 5 hours a day. The Epson EF-100B portable projector comes in a very small package, as you can see here, measuring only 21 centimeters wide, 9 centimeters tall and 23 centimeters in depth. It has a small opening on the top right of the front for the lens, and you can find all the buttons that you will need on top, including the focusing ring. The front is bordered in a bronze plastic, giving it a nice premium finish, and the front panel acts like a grille for airflow. You will find several other grills and fans down each side of the device. Now making our way around the back, the rear panel, which is covered in a kind of softer touch material. Why this is the case, I'm not really too sure, but it will probably have something to do with airflow again, as there are air vents on the back as well. Now underneath this panel you can find a HDMI input and a USB input for power pass-through for something like an Amazon Fire Stick, or in my case a Roku Express or similar. Now you can find a kettle plug input on the back left as you look at the projector itself. Now as the only practical input on the back was a HDMI port, I use my Roku Express to access a number of video playback apps like Netflix and Now TV, which I must say did work very well, but more on that in a moment. Now I actually positioned the projector in my living room on the side table so it could effectively project onto a plain wall. It stood, I would say, around 3 meters away from the actual projection wall, which gave me a throw of around 86 inches. Now the projector can throw an image of up to 150 inches, but you will need the room to go further back. Now I haven't got a projector screen, so I had to make do with the grey wallpapered wall, very similar to what's behind me. I lowered the little plastic stand that is housed in place on the bottom of the projector so that the lens is raised. The stand is a little flimsy, which was very surprising considering the actual build quality of this projector actually feels quite high. Now a heavy nudge or something similar could be enough to snap the actual little plastic stand from its bracket. Now the projector, once turned on, had to go through an initial setup menu. I had to use the focusing ring on the top to focus my image. It's very sensitive, so you need to be very gentle to get it pin sharp. Now the setup included brightness and picture profile options, and even had vertical and horizontal changes so you can get an accurate aspect ratio depending on the angle of the projection that was being thrown on the wall. Now there are keystone adjustments too, so the image is always ensured to stay at 16:9 aspect ratio. So this part of the review is going to be a little bit different for TechNuovo. It's something that we haven't done before to show off the quality of something like this projector. Hopefully it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my lights. There you go, and just like that, we are in darkness, and we've got the Epson EF-100B set up behind us, so we can just go through what this projector has to offer in terms of performance. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to get a true representation of what this actual projector can achieve, but hopefully you'll be able to see on the camera what I'm seeing right now, which is really such a clear image so far, and I haven't even plugged anything in. If I just run through the actual settings that you've got on there, if you go into the image settings, you've got things like your color mode, which you can change to bright cinema, natural, cinema. I've got it on dynamic setting because that's the brightest. That's in my opinion the nicest looking picture. Light output, you got your brightness settings, your color, your sharpness, aspect ratio, HDMI video range, all on there. If you go down to your actual settings, sound. Oh, that's another thing. It's got speakers built in, but we'll get to that in a moment in the review. Installation, which is your setup. Now, if you go into display, welcome guide, messages, startup screen, standby confirmation, picture, demo, which is all there. One last thing I did want to show you is if you go into color, you've got the saturation, your tint, your white balance. Then you've got RGB CMY, which you can go into that and you can change your hue, saturation and brightness. So you've got everything on there that you will need and you will want to play with if you're into the whole color grading thing. Which, if you're buying a projector, you're probably going to be honest with you, because it is quite important. Again, white balance, color temperature at 5. Now this is all default settings that I've got it set to, because, oh actually, I'll tell you what I have changed. the color saturation a little bit. I knocked that down a little bit because I was watching Mindhunters and it was just very orange. Skin tones were very orange. Info, projector info, light source version, and then we set everything on there. So you have got, in terms of pictures, some very, very nice picture options that you can actually choose from. So as soon as I plugged in my Roku Express, it detected the input straight away and showed Roku's main menu on the actual projection. Now, image straight away was sharp thanks to my already tuned focus, but it could have been better, so I messed around with the focus ring even more. I also noticed at first that my keystone adjustments weren't correct from when I ran the initial setup, so I had to make some more adjustments to get my image nice and square. Now, I use Netflix as my primary source of media playback purely because I pay for subscription, and to be honest with you, I can't really see users buying this projector for some kind of ultimate 4K uncompressed like media in the living room. Now, do bear in mind that I don't have a projector screen to test this one, yet I was still very impressed with the image quality that it gave me. Images looked very sharp, and even text from the actual Roku was really very readable. Now, the Epson EF-100B uses 3 LCD technology to produce its images and has a laser projector as well, rather than a traditional bulb. The projector can produce an image of up to 2000 lumens, which is very bright for the size of the actual projector itself, and really shines if you're using it in a dark room like this one that we're in. Even during the day in my living room, the image on my grey wall did look passable, and I do have big double doors to the outside. Now, the contrast ratio sits at 2.5 million to 1, which is absolutely staggering and made movie consumption look absolutely fantastic. And even watching a few YouTube videos as well, you can see that the actual colours and the sharpness does look very nice indeed. I will say now, as I said earlier, that there are a plethora of in-depth colour calibration options to go through so you can really pinpoint your colour accuracy. Now, being a bit of a noob like I am when it comes to this kind of thing, and the fact that I don't have any kind of colour calibration gear in the office, I stuck to the very basic options like saturation, colour temperature and tint, and also brightness and gamma. Now, I'm binging Mindhunters at the moment, and after the initial setup, I had to go back into the settings again as the colour when watching media was a little on the warm side, making skin tones really just too orange. Everyone looked as if they had that kind of Benidorm tan. Now, I also had to counteract the amount of green in the image with the tint option as well. Now, one criticism I do have with the Epson EF-100 is the sound quality of the built-in speaker. I just thought I'd throw a bit of gaming up there for just for you to have a look at as well. Just as an example of what kind of gaming looks like, although this is one of my live streams, it's still a nice example of what gaming's going to look like. So if there's one criticism I do have with the Epson EF-100B, and that's the sound quality of the built-in speaker. It's great being there, as you can carry this projector around with you to the office or something similar and still get sound for your PowerPoint presentation. But when you're watching TV, movies, or even playing games, the sound really does suffer. It doesn't feel deep enough and certainly lacks bass. Epson's solution to this is Bluetooth, however, as the only other input on the projector is a headphone auxiliary port. Now, there's no digital inputs like an optical port, for example. You can hook it up to a soundbar or Bluetooth speaker if you're using this as a media player in the home. So now we've got everything turned on, softboxes and all my lights back on, let's just wrap this video up. So the Epson EF-100B is a stylish, compact projector that can bring any of your media to the big screen as long as you can display it through the HDMI port. It's small, doesn't intrude with its fan noise, and the quality, I must say, was extremely impressive. The fact that you can project onto your ceiling too makes this quite decent for pairing for a bedroom, for example. As you can lay down and look at it while you're drifting off to sleep. You look up to the ceiling and there's a nice projector on your ceiling. Now, it costs around $849 on places like Amazon, but I have already seen it for cheaper with a quick Google search. So thank you very much for checking out our video review of the Epson EF-100B portable projector. If you enjoyed this video, then do click that like button. Please do subscribe to keep up with all of our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments below what you think of this portable projector, whether you would go for something like this for media playback in the home, or is that £849 going to go on, I don't know, a 50-inch LED TV for your living room? Do let me know in the comments below what you think. As I say, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.